Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, thank you. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Battle Through the Heavens based on novel. So let's start. Majestic fiery red Do-Chi surged out of Hong Qian-Xiao's body. He drew two 10-foot-long scimitars that violently danced. Finally, they collided with the Earth Demon puppet. An intense big battle immediately erupted. The lightning glow flickering on the long-eyebrowed, old man's body became increasingly dense upon seeing Hong Qian-Xiao successfully block the Earth Demon puppet. He stared at Xiao Yan as he said in a deep voice, "This 9 heavenly lightning prison formation is a great formation of my wind lightning northern pavilion. It is formed by 23 expert Do Huangs and 46 expert Do Wangs. Moreover, the 3 of us will act as the center of the formation. If you are able to break through it today, your name Xiao Yan will be able to shake the entire northern region of the Central Plains." Boom! 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 The 2 fierce attacks were slowly annihilated. A powerful energy wave spread in a swift and ferocious manner. However, it ended up scattering when it reached a distance of 100 feet around both Xiao Yang and the long-eyebrowed elder. Xiao Yang's gaze slowly swept over the 3 elders. There was a lightning-like pillar on their heads that shot into the thunder clouds. Among the 3 of them, only the long-eyebrowed elder directed the attacks. The remaining 2 seemed to be pouring all the Do-Chi within their bodies into this thunder cloud. This great formation is indeed somewhat profound, heaven lightning skill. The face of the long-eyebrowed elder was cold and stern, while the seals on his hands swiftly changed. The lightning clouds randomly churned in the sky. An instant later, his finger suddenly pointed at Xiao Yang. The thunder clouds churned as a countless number of enormous serpent-like thunderbolts shot out of it. Finally, they struck at Xiao Yan from all directions. Their mighty aura caused one's heart to feel afraid. Xiao Yang's feet gently stomped down as a jade-green flame surged from his body. It immediately permeated the space hundreds of feet around him. The flame fiercely rose and agglomerated into an enormous fire wolf that howled at the sky. It widened its enormous mouth and a suction force surged out. The thunderbolts that shot over were swallowed by it. After the thunderbolt was completely swallowed by the firewolf, wave after wave of muffled thunder began to be emitted from the enormous body of the firewolf. Its body had also become a little paler. However, it ultimately refined those thunderbolts. Qian Huazunja's reminder suddenly sounded within Xiao Yang's heart. Xiao Yang nodded slightly upon hearing this. He inhaled a deep breath of air and his finger gently pressed on the fire seal on his head. It formed a hook and a dense white-colored flame swiftly came out from it. Xiao Yang grabbed the bone-chilling flame the moment it appeared. The jade-green flame split apart, transforming into the fallen heart flame and the green lotus core flame. 3 types of heavenly flames were suspended in front of Xiao Yang. Finally, the 3 kinds of flames suddenly started to merge when his hand was clenched. Immediately, a frighteningly wild and violent force spread out, 3 types of a heavenly flame. How is this possible? The 3 elders, who had not shown emotional fluctuations earlier, changed their expressions when they saw the 3 types of heavenly flames in front of Xiao Yang. All of them involuntarily let out a cry of disbelief. The expression of the long-eyebrowed, old man also became much gloomier after his startled cry sounded. His gaze was exchanged with the other 2. They grit their teeth and the seal on their hands began to change. Following the rapid change in their hand seals, the lightning pillar that was emitted from their heads became stronger. After receiving such a great amount of lightning Do-Chi, the lightning cloud in the sky appeared like a creeping ancient fierce beast. It emitted waves of low and deep rumbling sounds that caused one's head to feel numb. A similarly wild and violent energy was swiftly formed at the same time. When the wild and violent energy was formed, the faces of the 3 elders gradually became pale. 3 types of heavenly flames were merging in Xiao Yang's hand. While they were merging, threads of destructive strength quietly seeped out. This caused the spatial strength around Xiao Yang to form some thread-like dark black cracks. Cracks had suddenly appeared in the air at this moment. With this current condition of Xiao Yang, it was not difficult for him to merge the 3 types of heavenly flames. Hence, a basin-sized 3-colored fire lotus slowly appeared on his palm a short couple of minutes later. The 3-colored fire lotus rotated slowly. Each time it did so, some dark black lines appeared in the surrounding space. After the cry of the 3 people sounded, a soul-stirring explosion was immediately emitted from the thundercloud. The churning speed also came to a slow stop. Immediately, bright silver glows shot out and an enormous lightning fist, a couple of 100 feet in size, broke through the thundercloud. It then came crushing down. Sharp sonic booms from all over the sky basically appeared one after another as the fist appeared. Continuous crackling sounds appeared as well. Even the street on the ground had suddenly cracked apart, revealing an enormous fist imprint. The enormous lightning fist carried a frightening strength as it came smashing down. That momentum was basically one that aimed to completely destroy everything in front of it. However, a three-colored light was advancing under the cover of the frightening fist without facing any resistance. Although its size was small, the destructive strength that seeped out of it brought forth spatial crack lines while it progressed. Bright glaring light energy appeared like a sun, which suddenly appeared in the sky. The intensity of the light had basically caused this weather, which had become a little dim because of the thunderclouds, to become extremely bright. The strength of such a glow had far exceeded the fiery hot sun in the distant sky. Just what kind of intense glow was this? It was likely that no one in this world had seen such an intense light. A person's eyes would likely only see a complete whiteness. This place seemed completely empty, causing everyone's hearts to be startled. The loud rumbling thunder appeared just like the roar of a thunder god that reverberated over the sky. However, the expected soul-stirring explosion did not appear. The spot where the three-colored lotus made contact with the enormous lightning fist had numerous spatial folds that were visible to the naked eye. The two extremely frightening energies were quietly eroding each other. Along with the erosion of the two frightening energies, a half-foot-wide black hole slowly appeared. The space where the two energies collided could not endure the other's presence and ended up forming some spatial cracks. The spatial black hole gradually widened. It spread until it was around 100 feet in size in front of the countless number of shocked eyes. The enormous lightning fist and the three-colored fire lotus had begun to fluctuate following the growth of the spatial black hole. Numerous thunderbolt-like silver snakes followed the enormous fist as they wildly poured down. They were violently channeled toward the fire lotus. In the face of the enormous lightning fist's wild and violent attack, the three-colored fire lotus became unusually calm. It rotated slowly and numerous fire seedlings that vaguely carried three colors were emitted, blocking all of those silver bolts of lightning that came pouring down. Although the battle between the two was completely silent and an overly soul-stirring explosion did not occur, anyone with some eyesight could tell that such an exchange was even more frightening and dangerous. Within 100 feet radius of this exchange, everyone, including Xiao Yan and the three wind lightning nor the pavilion elders would likely end up in a miserable state. The space around that location had already been covered by wave after wave of extremely wild, frighteningly violent energy. The fire lotus slowly rotated. Following each of its rotations, the enormous lightning fist vaguely became a little dimmer. At the same time, the expressions of the three elders also became even paler. The destructive strength within the fire lotus caused them to possess a fear that unfurled from deep within their souls. Crack. The rotating speed of the three-colored fire lotus suddenly became much faster in front of an innumerable number of gazes. Following the increase in its speed, the rate at which the enormous lightning fist became dimmer increased. In the end, the fist suddenly trembled and numerous crack lines slowly spread out in front of the shocked eyes of the three elders. Eventually, it emitted a crack sound and collapsed into a countless number of silver-colored light spots. Under the might of the Great Formation, the three elders' all-out attack was unable to block the frightening three-colored fire lotus. If Xiao Yan had relied on his own strength to create this three-colored fire lotus, it was naturally extremely difficult for him to achieve this effect. However, the current Xiao Yan had borrowed the strength of Qian Huazunja. Thus, his strength had already reached a frightening level. The strength of the three-colored fire lotus that he had currently displayed was naturally extremely frightening. After all, the Angry Buddha Lotus Flame was a powerful Do technique where its strength would accompany an increase in Xiao Yang's strength. As long as Xiao Yang's strength continued to rise, the power of the Angry Buddha Lotus Flame would also become more and more terrifying. The lightning pillars ruthlessly attacked the fire lotus, but they did not cause it to pause even a little as three-colored fire seedlings rose out. These fire seedlings might appear to be the size of a finger, but they instantly vaporized the lightning pillars into nothingness upon contact. This scene caused everyone to tremble in fear. The lightning pillars did not stop the attack of the fire lotus. While the fire seedling rose, the light ray that was formed by the fire lotus charged into the thunder cloud's heaven hall, scatter formation. The eyes of the long-eyebrowed elder immediately shrank to the size of a pinhole upon seeing the fire lotus barging into the thunder cloud. A horrified loud cry rumbled. However, before the Wind Lightning Northern Pavilion's experts at the exterior of the formation could recover from his cry, the interior of the thunder cloud emitted a soul-stirring explosion that resounded over the place. Immediately, an enormous fire wave surged out in an untamed floodwater-like manner. The thundercloud endured for an instant in the face of the attack from the enormous fire wave before it burst apart, transforming into clusters of tiny electric glows as it did so. The thundercloud was created by the experts from the Wind Lightning Northern Pavilion and the three elders. Hence, they were naturally implicated now that it had been destroyed. The thunderbolt curtain that had spread all over the place immediately disappeared. Numerous, grug, sounds of blood being spat out repeatedly resounded over Qianbei City. Some of the people standing on the buildings fell down head first. The people within Qianbei City involuntarily wiped off their cold sweat when they heard the sound of blood being vomited from all directions. That majestic storm had also been vaporized by the fire wave in the sky. The stormy weather from earlier had turned into one with clear skies that stretched for thousands of kilometers. Even the joint effort of the three elders from the Wind Lightning Pavilion and the use of the 9 Heavenly Lightning Prison Formation cannot trap him. This Xiao Yan is really too terrifying. After fighting the Wind Lightning Northern Pavilion's three elders and the many experts by himself, it is likely that Xiao Yan's name will spread over the entire northern region within a short couple of days. It is really joyous. I have not wasted a trip this time around. This big battle is the most intense one that I have seen in my life. It is likely that Xiao Yan could hardly find an opponent among the younger generation. It is rumored that the Wind Lightning Pavilion has a certain Feng Xiaojie. Her training talent is considered extremely outstanding and is the choice as the next Eastern Pavilion head. I wonder if she will be able to fight against Xiao Yan. The bodies of the long-eyebrowed elder and the two others in the sky stilled momentarily while the entire city emitted numerous private conversations. Their faces had finally turned pale white while their breathing had become sluggish. The forceful scattering of the thunder cloud was very harmful to them. Retreat. The hand of the long-eyebrowed old man trembled slightly. A moment later, he finally clenched his teeth and softly spoke a word. Let's leave first. With a stern cry, the long-eyebrowed elder and the other two unleashed their remaining Do Chi. Lightning glows surged and the three of them turned into 3 rays of light that rushed out of Qianbei City in a lightning-like manner. After which, they disappeared into the horizon. Xiao Yan beckoned with his hand after seeing the 3 elders fleeing into the distance. He held the 3 storage rings in his hand. It was not that he did not intend to kill all of them, but these 3 stuck together like chewing gum. If he were to really force them until that stage, it was likely that Xiao Yan would lose more than he gained. He was able to defeat the 3 of them, but killing them would require him to pay quite a terrible price. Xiao Yan glanced at the storage rings. His finger rubbed over them. Borrowing Qian Huazun's majestic spiritual strength, he was able to easily remove the spiritual imprints on them. Xiao Yan's spirit swiftly invaded the rings after having removed the imprint. After a search, 3 bright silver-colored scrolls flashed and appeared in his hand. They were indeed with these 3 old fellows. These 3 silver-colored scrolls were similar to the one he had obtained from Chen Yun. Even the blood veins on its surface were exactly the same. Clearly, these 3 scrolls should be part of the 3000 lightning illusionary body. However, he did not know whether he would be able to obtain a complete version of them after including the scroll already in his hands. Xiao Yan could not help but feel a little anxious after thinking until this point. Of course, he would naturally not test it in this kind of situation. He flipped his hand and stored the 3 scrolls into his storage ring. Immediately, his dark eyes slowly turned to Hong Qianxiao, who was still entangled with the Earth Demon puppet. The killing intent within Xiao Yan's heart was even more intense when it came to this old man. He knew that the news of Chen Yun dying to his hands had been spread by this fellow. The information that the people from the Wind Lightning Pavilion had on him should have also been revealed by this old man. It might not be possible to kill the 3 elders today, but this Hong Qianxiao needed to die. Hong Qianxiao, who was fighting with the Earth Demon puppet in the distance, had naturally also sensed that the 3 elders had fled after being defeated. His expression immediately became extremely ugly. These 3 old bastards. Hong Qianxiao roared furiously within his heart. He had just forced back the Earth Demon puppet when he sensed a pair of ice-cold eyes that contained a killing intent, being shot over from a distance. Hong Qianxiao's expression instantly became much paler after sensing the density of the killing intent within those eyes. His mouth was filled with bitterness. At this moment, he had finally understood just what kind of frightening existence he had offended this time around. Fire. A red Do Chi appeared just like a fire as it emitted some heat and wrapped Hong Qianxiao within it. His hand was holding a scimitar that was over 10 feet long. It danced in a mighty manner as it carried a blade glow that contained a hot wind and whizzed out. They immediately hacked at the Earth Demon puppet's body. The scimitar violently hacked at the body of the Earth Demon puppet. Under the full strength of Hong Qianxiao, some scars appeared on the silver surface of the puppet's body. However, no fresh blood flowed out. The Earth Demon puppet appeared to be completely unaware of these wounds on its body as its powerful fist carried a low, deep sonic boom that smashed toward Hong Qianxiao. This caused Hong Qianxiao to appear a little miserable as he tried to dodge. After all, he was not immune to all sorts of pain like the Earth Demon puppet. The corner of Hong Qianxiao's eyes drifted toward the figure that was slowly stepping through the empty air. His originally ugly face had become much darker. With a furious cry, the large blade in front of him danced and formed a wild wind. Sharp blade glows emitted shua shua sounds as they threw the earth demon puppet's fist aside. Fire-splitting blade. The fiery red Dochi agglomerated crazily on the enormous blade. Hong Qian's eyes turned cold as furiously hacked down. The blade glow cut through space and ruthlessly struck into the earth demon puppet's arm. The blade cut half an inch into it. The fiery red blade caused a kai-kai sound to appear while white smoke was emitted from the earth demon puppet's arm. Bang! The eyes of the earth demon puppet remained empty despite having suffered such an attack. It ignored the large blade in its arm as a silver-colored fist was suddenly thrown forward. It ruthlessly smashed into Hong Qian's chest. A frightening strength surged out when the fist came smashing over. Hong Qian's throat let out a muffled moan. His body shook and he hurriedly stepped back. A thread of sweetness in his throat was forcefully held back by him. Since you dare to hurt my puppet, you shall die. Hong Qian's feet stabilized his body. Before had time to do anything else, however, a somewhat indifferent voice suddenly sounded behind him. The voice was transmitted into Hong Qian's ears, and his eyes immediately shrank. His gaze looked in the direction where Xiao Yan had been, only to see an afterimage slowly disappearing. A chill suddenly surfaced in Hong Qian's heart as he looked at the scattering afterimage. The chill had just materialized when frightening wind suddenly shot over from behind him. Hong Qiao hurriedly turned around while he was feeling shock in his heart. His hand holding the large fiery red blade did not hesitate even a little. He agglomerated the Dochi all over his body and ruthlessly hacked down. Xiao Yan, you bastard. You actually dared to deceive the old me. Hong Qiao immediately let out a furious roar upon sensing the great strength of the wind behind him. He immediately swung the scimitar in his hand ruthlessly toward his back. Finally, a clear, clang-clang sound appeared as it cut onto the arm of the earth demon puppet. However, the puppet did not step back. Instead, it strode forward, pulled its arms apart, and firmly hugged Hong Qiao. Hong Qiao was startled when his limbs were restrained. He quickly began to struggle. Fire-red Dochi surged out of his body like an erupting volcano. However, the earth demon puppet firmly restrained Hong Qiao under Xiao Yan's orders. It completely ignored the heat of the Dochi. The old me will definitely not allow you to kill me this easily. Hong Qiao's eyes revealed a craziness after becoming aware that Xiao Yan had the intention of killing him off after he had been restrained by the earth demon puppet. The Dochi within his body collided. Immediately, a wild, violent force hurriedly surged out. From its appearance, this old fellow was actually thinking of self-destructing. Xiao Yan appeared to have anticipated Hong Qiao's plan. The Dochi in his body surged, and his body rushed forward in a ghost-like manner. His eyes were ice-cold while a jade-green fire palm appeared. It was just like a flame cone. As it was viciously pierced forward, the struggling Hong Qiao suddenly stiffened amid a soft sound. He slowly lowered his head with much difficulty and looked at the fire hand that had penetrated his chest. The viciousness in his eyes had yet to reach its peak when they solidified. Xiao Yan was expressionless after having destroyed Hong Qiao's life force with a single attack. Xiao Yan suddenly placed his hand on Hong Qiao's head and violently pulled. An illusionary spiritual body was immediately pulled out. Little bastard Xiao Yan. The old me shall die with you today. The illusionary Hong Qiao spirit had just been pulled out when it let out a vicious roar. However, before his soul could self-destruct, majestic spiritual strength had surged out of Xiao Yan's body and violently collided with the soul. Immediately, Hong Qiao's soul turned illusionary and the sanity within his eyes swiftly disappeared. Collisions between spirits was the most dangerous thing that could happen. If one was careless, not only would one's mind be damaged, but the other party's mind would also suffer some injuries. However, it was fortunate that after having borrowed the spiritual strength of Qian Huazunjia, Xiao Yan's spiritual strength was far stronger than Hong Qiao's spiritual strength. Hence, this collision had greatly reduced the consciousness within Hong Qiao's soul. Xiao Yan grabbed Hong Qiao's soul when he saw the paralysis appear in his eyes. A majestic spiritual strength was like a bandit as it used the most brutal method to barge into Hong Qiao's soul. After sweeping through it, Xiao Yan completely removed his consciousness. Xiao Yan swiftly took out a jade bottle after having eliminated the consciousness. After which, he stuffed the spirit into it. His hand rubbed over it and an invisible flame appeared. A fire seal was placed on the mouth of the bottle, a 5-star dozone spirit and body. My reward is quite great this time around. If I am able to obtain another rank 7 monster core, I will be able to refine another puppet. Of course, the precondition is if I am lucky enough to successfully refine it. Xiao Yan smiled and softly replied, I have already offended the Wind Lightning Pavilion. If I entangle myself with all of you, it is likely that the matter today will occur again. Cuckoo, when my strength reaches a level where I am no longer afraid of the Wind Lightning Pavilion, I will come visit the Han clan. I hope you won't end up chasing me away at that time. Han Shui tightly bit her lower red lip with the back of her teeth. Her lovely body had a kind of unsteady feeling. She was vaguely aware that she might really have difficulty meeting Xiao Yan again in the future after they parted ways today. Xiao Yan, thank you. The Han clan will remember this favor of yours. Han Yu softly sighed softly. She stepped forward, pulled Han Shui, and gently spoke to Xiao Yan. Senior Han Yu is really too courteous. I am merely resolving trouble that I created. Xiao Yan smiled. He immediately looked at the pale-faced Han Shui and sighed within his heart. Cupping his hands together, he said, help me bid big brother Han Chong and the rest goodbye. You are the first group of friends that I have made after arriving in the Central Plains region. Hopefully, we will meet again. Xiao Yan's voice sounded before his body trembled and slowly disappeared. Han Shui watched the gradually disappearing Xiao Yan. She finally involuntarily pounced into Han Yu's embrace and began to cry. Han Fei's figure hurriedly appeared at the entrance of the yard. However, when he saw the crying Han Shui, he could only let out a sigh. His gaze looked to the distant sky as he muttered, little friend Xiao Yang, the Han clan will accept this favor of yours. We will definitely repay you in the future if we have the opportunity to. Bone Transforming City, a city not smaller than Qianbei City. However, it was quite far from Qianbei City. It was barely outside of the Wind Lightning Pavilion's influence. This city was controlled by a faction called the Bone Transforming Gate. Although there were many other factions beneath it, all of them had difficulty contending with the Bone Transforming Gate. Moreover, this Bone Transforming Gate did things in a moderate manner. Although it would occupy a lion's share, it would not swallow all the profits that existed. Hence, it had always been the overlord of the Bone Transforming City during these years. There was seldom any factions who would stand up and challenge them. The chief of Bone Transforming Gate practiced a water affinity chi method and was a little unusual. Hidden force would unknowingly enter his opponent's body before it would gently disperse. If one were to be struck by this force, one's bone would even show signs of weakening. Hence, the Bone Transforming Gate was renowned even among the surrounding cities. This city was also the first place Xiao Yang had stopped to rest after starting his crazy journey from Qianbei City. During his journey, he went in the deep mountains and hidden forests as he traveled in a single direction. According to his guess, he should have already left the territory of the Wind Lightning Pavilion. Moreover, he was unfamiliar with this place and did not know the roads. Randomly flying around was not a solution. Hence, he chose to obtain a map of the northern region first. Thus, he would not end up flying around like a housefly without direction. Moreover, he needed to search for the medicinal ingredients that were necessary to refine the soul-cleansing pill as well as to inquire about some information. The interior of the Bone Transforming City had mainly been decorated with a pale white color. At a glance, it seemed as though it was a city completely built from bones. It caused one to feel a faint chill within their hearts when they looked at it. However, the liveliness of the city was not lessened as a result of chill. A noisiness that shot to the sky could be clearly heard even from a great distance. This was the first time Xiao Yang had entered a human city after having traveled at a crazy pace for a couple of days. He involuntarily felt somewhat unused to the noisiness that he felt. Immediately, he shook his head and walked into the city. A map of the northern region was not considered an overly rare item. Xiao Yang did not spend much effort before finding a map shop, called Map Court. He entered it, saw the many maps piled within and felt a little absent-minded. When he had met Hai Bodong in the Jiomar Empire for the first time, he obtained the second map fragment of the Purifying Demonic Lotus Flame from the map shop. The Purifying Demonic Lotus Flame has been called the Clean Lotus Demon Flame earlier in the story. Xiao Yang helplessly sighed when he thought of the Purifying Demonic Lotus Flame. Ever since he had obtained the third map fragment, he had not been lucky enough to chance upon the fourth map fragment, causing him to feel extremely regretful. The Purifying Demonic Lotus Flame was ranked third on the Heavenly Flame ranking. Even Yao Lao had only heard of its name and had never seen its form. Hence, one could tell just how mysterious and powerful this thing was. If Xiao Yang successfully swallowed it, his strength would soar like crazy. Unfortunately, Xiao Yang suppressed the sadness in his heart. He slowly walked into the shop. There was an old man in the shop, but he was not some expert. His face had the shrewdness that a merchant ought to have. Xiao Yang glanced over him. The strength of this old man had just reached the dosha's class. It seemed that his training talent was really insignificant. This young brother, are you planning to purchase a map? That old man hurriedly stood up and asked a question with a smile when he saw Xiao Yan enter. Give me the most precise map of the northern region you have. Xiao Yan nodded and made a request. His gaze slowly swept over the shop carefully. A moment later, he withdrew his gaze with some disappointment. He was foolishly hoping that the matter back then would occur once again. Young brother, this is the map you requested. It is the most detailed one created by my shop, and it is worth 30,000 gold coins. The old man swiftly pulled out an extremely beautiful scroll from a platform and handed it to Xiao Yan before speaking with a smile. 30,000 gold coins. Xiao Yan involuntarily rolled his eyes when he heard the price. This old fellow was really merciless when it came to ripping someone off. Xiao Yan randomly opened the map and studied it a little. After finding that it was indeed somewhat detailed, Xiao Yan found he was too lazy to argue with the old man. He handed over the gold coins required, turned around, and started to leave. Young brother, please wait. The old man suddenly cried out when he saw Xiao Yan turning around to leave. What is it? Xiao Yan frowned and demanded. Young brother really looks quite foreign. You should not be a person from the bone-transforming city, right? Are you also here because of the Heavenly Mountain blood pool in the Heaven Eye Mountain range? The old man inquired as he smiled. Heaven Eye Mountain range? Heavenly Mountain blood pool? These two names caused Xiao Yan to be startled. Not because they were foreign, but because he had already heard these terms over a dozen times since he had entered the city. However, he was not aware of the mysteries they referred to. The old man was also startled when he saw Xiao Yan's expression. He asked in surprise, does young brother not even know about the Heaven Eye Mountain range and the Heavenly Mountain blood pool? Young brother, the old me is doing this for your own good. The effects of the Heavenly Mountain blood pool might be mysterious, but it can, at the very most, be used by 10 people. In other words, if you arrive at the Heavenly Mountain blood pool after those 10 people, you can only look at the empty blood pool and wait another 3 years, the old man hurriedly added when he saw that Xiao Yan did not declare his intentions. Oh. Xiao Yan was also startled when he heard these words. Immediately, he nodded with a smile. If this was really the case, he should really make a move ahead of schedule. The effects of the Heavenly Mountain blood pool were mysterious. There would definitely be many experts attracted by it. If he were to arrive too late, he might really have to wait another 3 years. The old man immediately rejoiced when he saw Xiao Yan nodding his head. He joyfully took out a map and muttered in his heart with a grin. I have ripped off another wealthy person. How many has there been today? Xiao Yan was naturally unaware of the old man's inner thoughts. Moreover, even if he knew about them, he would be too lazy to find fault with the other party. This map might not be worth so much money, but in his opinion, the situation regarding the Heavenly Mountain blood pool was worth far more than money. Xiao Yan randomly paid the gold coins and put the map into his storage ring. After which, he walked out of the shop in front of the old man's smiling eyes. After having exited the shop, Xiao Yan made a trip around some medicinal shops. It was not a futile one. At the very least, he had managed to obtain the water spirit lotus seed that he needed to refine the soul cleansing pill. Although it was quite expensive, it was naturally nothing to remiss for someone like Xiao Yan, who was in a hurry to remove the remnant spiritual imprint in his body. After roaming once around the bone-transforming city and inquiring about more information, Xiao Yan had a much greater understanding of the so-called Heavenly Mountain blood pool. That old man had not deceived him. A month later, the Heavenly Mountain blood pool would appear again. Moreover, there were currently a countless number of people from the northern region hurrying to the Heaven Eye Mountain range. Xiao Yan stopped in front of an inn in the city. He looked at the many people on the street. There were many people present here whose target was the Heaven Eye Mountain range. I will get moving and head to the Heaven Eye Mountain range tomorrow after resting for the night here. If I am able to be the first 10 to enter the Heaven Mountain blood pool, there is a chance that it might help me break through to the Do Zone class. Xiao Yan's heart became boiling hot when he thought of the possibility of him breaking through. This Central Plains was really worthy of being in the middle of the Do Chi continent. Such a mysterious matter would seldom occur in other places. However, it had appeared here. Xiao Yan naturally did not intend to give it up. It is rumored that the Wind Lightning Pavilion, 10,000 Sword Pavilion, and other stronger factions have dispatched their core elites to head to the Heaven Eye Mountain range. From the looks of it, they are clearly targeting the Heavenly Mountain blood pool. Damn it, with these fellows participating, there will be fewer and fewer of the 10 spots left. Not everyone can enter the Heavenly Mountain blood pool. Hey, what can we do? The other parties are great factions. It is best for those without ability to not participate in this matter. Otherwise, one would not only fail to benefit, one would also get into trouble. Xiao Yan frowned involuntarily when he heard this. It was unexpected that the Heavenly Mountain Blood Pool also possessed an allure to a faction like the Wind Lightning Pavilion. Would he not end up attracting trouble if he headed out and ended up meeting them? The 4 pavilions in the Central Plains will conduct a competition called the 4 Pavilion Heaven every few years. Those who participate in this competition are the most outstanding members of the younger generation within each pavilion. It is likely that the Wind Lightning Pavilion and the 10,000 Sword Pavilion are heading to the Heavenly Mountain Blood Pool in preparation for it. I wonder if the Yellow Spring Pavilion and the Falling Star Pavilion will participate. The Heavenly Mountain Blood Pool does not have much of an effect on those old fellows. It is a treasure for the younger generation. By soaking in it, one would not only be able to wash one's bones, but it might even be able to help one break through. There are only a couple of months left before this season's 4 Pavilion Heaven. If one could break through at this moment, the pavilion's chances of victory would greatly soar. A somewhat skinny-looking man coldly laughed. It is rumored that there is a Miss Feng in the Wind Lightning Pavilion who has an extremely frightening training talent. There are even rumors that she will be the next pavilion head of the Eastern Pavilion. Moreover, the 10,000 Sword Pavilion is also quite strong. Tang Ying, who is known as Sky Fountain Sword, uses extremely mysterious, skillful sword techniques. He is even able to exchange blows with some of the experts from the older generation. They could be called the top of the younger generation in the northern region. I wonder who will win if they end up meeting in a fight. These 2 people might be strong, but they seem to be a little inferior when compared to the recent individual called Xiao Yan. The Central Plains are filled with hidden talents. Who dares to call himself the strongest? A man with a scar on his face laughed. Xiao Yan? Is he the one who killed Chen Yun from the Wind Lightning Pavilion and forcefully broke the 9 Heavenly Lightning prison formation the remaining 3 elders had set up? That's right. All of you did not see the big battle in Qianbei City back then. That was damn interesting. That fellow looked to be only in his 20s, but his strength was absolutely terrifying. He relied on his own strength to fight against 3 great Dozongs. Moreover, the ancestor of the Hong clan, Hong Qian Xiao, also came to an extremely miserable end. Who are Miss Feng and Tang Ying compared to him? You cannot put it this way. Although that Xiao Yang is very strong, Miss Feng and Tang Ying are not weak either. According to what I know, Xiao Yang used a kind of unknown secret technique back then to forcefully raise his strength. Otherwise, he would have difficulty fighting against 3 great Dozongs. Xiao Yang was involuntarily startled when he heard the conversation suddenly focus on him. He immediately let out a bitter smile, took out a doping from his storage ring and quietly put it on his head. He did not wish to end up exposing his identity, attracting unnecessary trouble. Xiao Yan listened for a little longer and was planning to leave when a silver-colored figure slowly appeared on the stairs of the inn. After which, the figure climbed to the 2nd floor. The 2nd story of the inn had become a lot quieter following the appearance of this silver-colored figure. An aura that caused one to feel pressure vaguely seeped out of the figure's body. At a glance, one could tell that this figure was not an ordinary person. It was difficult to tell the age of the silver-colored human figure. His face seemed somewhat young, but his hair was an old white color that faintly gave him an elderly appearance. The most shocking thing was that this person possessed a pair of extremely rare white-colored eyes. On the surface, however, Xiao Yan remained impassive. He smiled and said, "I did not reserve the seat you. You can sit if you want to. However, I still have some other matters to deal with and cannot stay for long. Goodbye." You are not afraid of the 9 Heavenly Lightning prison formation that the 3 elders from the Wind Lightning Northern Pavilion formed? Don't tell me that you are afraid of me? The silver-colored human figure smiled. His voice had suddenly become a lot louder and clearer, suppressing all the noise on the 2nd floor of the inn. Immediately, numerous stunned gazes were thrown over before pausing on Xiao Yang. Don't tell me that he is Xiao Yang? The expression under the doping had gradually become darker and more solemn. Xiao Yang's eyes stared at the silver-colored human figure opposite him as he slowly asked, "Just what great being are you? Tell me your name." Hiding around is not the style of a skilled person. I cannot be considered a skilled person. The reason I have come here is mainly to demand something from you. The silver-robed man lifted his wine cup and laughed. What thing? Xiao Yang narrowed his eyes. The do-chi within his body had slowly begun circulating. As the saying went, those who come do not have good intent and those with good intent do not come. This person was clearly targeting him. Moreover, from this manner of his, it was likely that he was not here to make friends. 3000 lightning illusionary body. The silver-robed man smiled faintly to Xiao Yan. However, his soft voice caused Xiao Yan to suddenly stand up. A deep voice demanded, "You are someone from the Wind Lightning Pavilion? Other people call the old me Qian Lei Zi." The silver-robed man's finger was inserted into the cup and a lightning arc shuttled around the cup like a small snake. "Qian Lei Zi, Fei Qian, the pavilion head of the Wind Lightning Northern Pavilion?" The silver-robed man's words had just sounded when waves of the sound wine cups make while falling appeared. Immediately, numerous shocked exclamations were involuntarily emitted. Xiao Yan's eyes suddenly shrank when he heard the final few words, "head of the Wind Lightning Northern Pavilion." The heavy Xian ruler had appeared like a reflex action. His ruler violently hacked at the head of the silver-robed man in a violent manner. A sonic boom was formed on the ruler, shattering the table into powder despite being some distance away. "It is really a little rude to treat an old man like you do." The silver-robed man faintly smiled. His finger was gently flicked and a bright lightning glow shot out from it. It collided with the heavy ruler. The lightning glow was just like a poisonous snake that burrowed into Xiao Yan's hand. Xiao Yan let out a cold snort when he saw this. A jade-green flame surged out of his hand and collided with the lightning glow. A thunderclap sounded and both were eliminated. "It is indeed a heavenly flame. However, given my eyesight, I am unable to see where it belongs to on the heavenly flame ranking." Surprise flashed across the silver-robed man's eyes when he saw the jade-green flame. He whispered. Xiao Yan swiftly stored away his heavy ruler after his futile attack. His body trembled and a rumbling thunder sounded and his body charged out of the window. With a shake of his back, the bone wings were extended. Finally, he transformed into a ray of light that shot out of the city with a swoosh sound. The frightening speed left anyone watching speechless. It is indeed the 3000 lightning movement. That silver-robed man was not in a hurry to give chase when he saw Xiao Yan flee. He drank all of the wine in the wine pot in one go before slowly standing up. The corner of his mouth was lifted into a cold smile as he looked in the direction Xiao Yan had fled. "Little fellow, you won't be able to escape. It is indeed as Elder Lei and the others described. You possess a couple of heavenly flames in your body. If I have guessed correctly, the jade-green heavenly flame, which I have never seen before, should be something formed from the merger of heavenly flames." Only after Fei Qian disappeared did the completely silent second story of the inn gradually recover. Everyone looked at each other with shock. It was unexpected that they would actually meet this legendary old demon today. Moreover, they were also extremely surprised that this old demon was personally chasing Xiao Yan. It is likely that the little fellow is going to be extremely unlucky this time around. This old demon Fei Qian is rumored to have become an 8-star dozong a number of years ago. However, by being able to get this old demon Fei Qian to act personally, it is already sufficient for his name to be known throughout the entire northern region. Such a treatment is not something an ordinary person can enjoy. There was some sighs vaguely emitted from the crowd. A ray of light rushed outside Bone transforming city in a lightning-like manner. In the blink of an eye, it charged into the mountain range that was outside of the city. Xiao Yan activated his bone wings to their maximum strength, raising his speed to a frightening extent. His expression was a little gloomy as his figure rushed forward. Although he did not sense Fei Qian giving chase, he did not think that young-looking old fellow would give up so easily. "Just how did this old fellow find me? I have been traveling through the deep mountains and old forests during this period of time. It is impossible for the people from the Wind Lightning Pavilion to discover me." Some doubt appeared in Xiao Yan's heart as his figure flashed. The northern region of the Central Plains was so large. Regardless of how capable Fei Qian was, it was impossible for this person to find him in a sea of people without reason. Moreover, looking at his manner earlier, it was clear that this person was already aware of his position. Could he have been discovered by the spies from the Wind Lightning Pavilion when he had entered the city yesterday? Even if that was the case, this place was already beyond the territory of the Wind Lightning Pavilion. It was impossible for a spy from the Wind Lightning Pavilion to pass the information back to the Wind Lightning Pavilion within a day, even if that spy had discovered him. Doubt appeared in Xiao Yan's heart. He involuntarily felt a sense of danger. That fellow might appear like a light breeze, but he actually gave Xiao Yan a dangerous feeling. This kind of feeling was something that Xiao Yan had seldom sensed on anyone except the unfathomable Qian Bai elders and the old ground demon ghost. This old fellow's strength is at least that of an 8-star dozong. Even if I used Qian Huazunja's strength, it would be difficult for me to face him head-on unless I used the extermination fire lotus, but that is ultimately my life preservation skill. Unless it is absolutely necessary, it is best not to use it. These thoughts flew swiftly across Xiao Yan's heart. However, his speed was not the least bit reduced. His body was just like a meteorite that disappeared into the horizon in the blink of an eye. That old fellow has really given up chasing after me. Xiao Yan flew wildly for nearly 10+ minutes. His eyebrows were knit even more tightly when he saw that no one had given chase. Finally, he muttered in a soft voice, "The old me said that you won't be able to escape." A faint laugh was suddenly transmitted from a distance while Xiao Yan was softly muttering to himself. His body stiffened. Immediately, his eyes shrank and locked onto a mountain peak in front of him. The silver-robed Fei Qian was standing there with his hands behind his back. His silver-white eyes were mocking Xiao Yang. "This old fellow's speed is really frightening." Xiao Yang inhaled a breath of cool air. His expression had become solemn. It seemed that there would likely be some trouble today. "You might possess the 3000 lightning movement and those mysterious bone wings. However, you have chosen the wrong target if you wish to compete with the old me in terms of speed." Fei Qian smiled as he spoke. "Just what are you planning to do?" Xiao Yang cried out in a deep voice. His eyes swept all around him without leaving a trace, searching for a route to flee. "Hand over the 3000 lightning illusionary body to the old me. You might have gathered the 4 scrolls, but it is still impossible for you to practice it. Hence, it is a waste leaving them on you." Fei Qian spoke in a faint voice. "You will allow me to leave if I return the 3000 lightning illusionary body to you?" Xiao Yan's eyes narrowed as he slowly asked. Fei Qian merely smiled when he heard this. He gently stepped forward and his body appeared 100 meters away from Xiao Yan in a strange manner. He laughed. "The old me is also interested in your chi method that can merge heavenly flames. I might let you go if you hand it over to me." Xiao Yan's expression had completely turned gloomy when he heard these words. Flame mantra was his greatest support. The reason he had been able to reach this level today was largely because of flame mantra. If this fellow wanted to snatch flame mantra from him, it was little different than taking his life away. Moreover, it was impossible for Xiao Yang to hand over such a mysterious chi method like the flame mantra to an outsider, and the wind lightning pavilion could be considered his enemy. "It has been many years since I have fought with someone. Allow me to test your skills today." Qian Huazun's somewhat illusionary figure slowly appeared in front of Fei Qian. He clenched his hand and a long sword that was agglomerated from spiritual strength appeared. "Regardless of how you block me, he will ultimately be unable to escape my palm." Fei Qian coldly laughed. His body shook and a bright lightning glow surged of him in a cackling manner. Following the appearance of the lightning glow, the clouds in the sky above gradually became dark. Silver serpent-like lightning was vaguely shuttling within it. This old demon had actually reached the stage where he could use his own dope chi to communicate with natural energy. Fei Qian's hand reached forward. A lightning glow flashed and a long spear that was agglomerated from lightning appeared with a kai-kai sound. The body of the spear shook along with space itself. Qian Huazunja was not afraid despite seeing this strong skill of Fei Qian. He let out a loud laugh as his majestic spiritual strength swept out. His body moved and the spiritual longsword pierced forward while forming numerous spiritual ripples. Fei Qian laughed in the face of Qian Huazunja's attack. The lightning spear in his hand carried an incomparable lightning do chi which emitted a repeated kai-kai sound. Finally, it was violently swung out, clang. The clear sound of a collision resounded across the entire sky. In the face of this strange sonic wave, some of the weaker magical beasts in the mountain range below felt a crack in their head before bursting apart. The strength that was exchanged between the two was actually this terrifying. Xiao Yang's figure was rushing forward like a ray of light. He had also sensed a little of the change in the sky far behind him. However, he did not turn around. Qian Huazunja had put in a great amount of effort to buy him some time. Turning around will be the most foolish decision, old bastard. I shall remember today's grudge. I will definitely repay you in the future. Xiao Yan clenched his teeth. His expression was a little ferocious. That old fellow had actually targeted the flame mantra. This had completely infuriated Xiao Yan. Killing intent churned in Xiao Yan's heart. However, his speed was not reduced by even a little. With a swoosh sound, the light ray flew across the sky, instantly disappearing on the edge of the mountain range. This all-out flying continued for nearly 20 minutes or so when the space in front of Xiao Yang became distorted. Immediately, a spiritual strength came out of the space. It was surprisingly Qian Huazunja, who had stayed behind to block Fei Qian earlier. At this moment, Qian Huazunja's expression was a little solemn. His figure also seemed paler than it had been earlier. From the looks of it, he had experienced a violent fight with that old demon Fei Qian during these 20 minutes. Leave quickly. Teleportation through space is something that only an elite Dozun can do. If I had not reached the Dozun level and am currently a spiritual body, it is likely that I would have difficulty using it. However, that fellow's speed is extremely frightening. It is likely that he will catch up within a short while. Qian Huazunja urged in an anxious voice the moment he appeared. The space in the sky above a lush green mountain range fluctuated. Soon after, a silver-colored figure slowly appeared. Fei Qian's expression suddenly changed as his figure appeared. He discovered that the thread of spiritual feeling had been split into 4. Moreover, each of them was flying in a different direction. As he discovered it, this brat is actually willing to abandon such a treasure. The smile on Fei Qian's face slowly turned gloomy. The reason he had been able to accurately tell Xiao Yan's location earlier was because he was relying on the special imprint within those 4 scrolls. It was unexpected that this was also discovered by Xiao Yan. Moreover, they were abandoned in such a decisive fashion. Fei Qian's gaze was gloomy as he elted off into the distance in front of him. He knew that Xiao Yan was fleeing that way. However, if he were to continue giving chase, it was likely that those 4 3,000 lightning illusionary body would fall into the hands of others. Thus, there would be some other troubles. If he were to allow Xiao Yan to escape, however, he would have difficulty calming his anger. Moreover, he was also extremely interested in the mysterious chi method Xiao Yan practiced that could merge heavenly flames. Fei Qian gently exhaled a breath of air as his eyes flickered slightly. He spoke in a dense voice, "Brat, if you think that you can shake me off with such a simple trick, it is likely that you have really underestimated this chief." Fei Qian's hand seal suddenly moved when his words sounded. Dazzling unusual seals were formed in a lightning-like manner. His expression was stern as he coldly cried out, 3,000 lightning illusionary body. Appear? An invisible strength suddenly surged from Fei Qian's body after his cry sounded. A strange fluctuation occurred, agglomerating into an avatar that was exactly the same as Fei Qian. The thing that was most shocking was that the aura of this avatar was also extremely powerful. Although it was inferior to the actual Fei Qian, it was also an elite dozone which far exceeded the strength of the 4 great elders from the Wind Lightning Northern Pavilion. Unfortunately, my 3,000 lightning illusionary body has yet to reach complete mastery. Regardless of how cunning that fellow is, he will have difficulty escaping alive. Fei Qian looked at the avatar beside him and shook his head. He faintly commanded, "You will go and chase after that brat. I will go and chase after those scrolls. There is no need for you to fight head-on against them. All you need to do is delay them. Relax." Fei Qian's avatar let out a faint smile. His expression was exactly the same as the actual body. Moreover, his silver-white eyes were filled with an intelligence. It was completely different than the emptiness the other avatar had. It seemed that this 3,000 lightning illusionary body had some profoundness to it. It was indeed worthy of a mysterious dose skill that was comparable to a Qian-class chi method. Fei Qian nodded. He ceased speaking as he turned around. Space trembled and his body slowly disappeared. Following the disappearance of Fei Qian's body, that avatar also turned his head and threw his gaze in the direction Xiao Yan was fleeing. He let out a cold laugh as his body emitted a bang and transformed into nothing. A ray of light flashed through the completely clear sky while the faint sound of thunder was emitted from it. Fei Qian's aura is gradually disappearing. It is likely that he has gone to pursue the 4 scrolls. There is indeed a problem with those things. Xiao Yan glanced behind him while he was flying with all his might. He sighed in relief. Although it was a pity to toss those things aside, it was fortunate that he had already remembered all the contents in his mind. Yes, his aura has indeed headed in another direction. It seems that we have shaken him off. Be careful. Qian Huazunja's words had just sounded when his voice suddenly changed. Immediately, a powerful spiritual strength surged out of the snow-white ring and violently smashed against empty space. Bang! The empty space where the spiritual strength collided immediately fluctuated. The space became distorted and a figure with a vague lightning glow lingering over it slowly appeared. It was surprisingly Fei Qian. Xiao Yan's expression also suddenly changed. His figure instantly pulled back. He had never expected this fellow to actually give chase. The old me said that you will never be able to escape from my hands. Fei Qian's eyes were ice cold. He stared at Xiao Yan as he slowly spoke. Xiao Yan clenched his fist slightly and coldly smiled. It seems that you really do not want the 3,000 lightning illusionary body scrolls. Fei Qian merely smiled when he heard this. His smile contained a little ridicule as he said, "The scrolls will return and you will also not be able to escape. Something's wrong. This fellow's aura is much weaker and is far from what he was earlier. The current him is at most a 6-star dose zone." Qian Huazunja's spirit suddenly appeared. He frowned, looked at Fei Qian, and spoke in a solemn voice. Xiao Yan's eyes narrowed. A thought passed through his heart before he involuntarily cried out, 3,000 lightning illusionary body? He is merely an avatar of Fei Qian. It looks like you do have some understanding of the 3,000 lightning illusionary body. Fei Qian laughed. Kill him, he is delaying time. Fei Qian's actual body has definitely gone to pursue those scrolls. Once the actual body hurries over, we will really be unable to escape. Xiao Yan hurriedly said. Xiao Yan's voice had just sounded when Qian Huazunja by the side rushed out with a swoosh sound. Majestic spiritual strength surged out and shook the entire space until it fluctuated. You wish to escape? Xiao Yan merely laughed upon seeing this. After borrowing Qian Huazunja's spiritual strength, Xiao Yan's strength was already no longer weaker than Fei Qian's avatar. The seal he formed with his hands changed and the speed of the fire python soared. Finally, it ruthlessly smashed into Fei Qian's body in a lightning-like manner, bang! The fire python collided with Fei Qian's avatar, and the lightning glow covering his body immediately vanished. Before he could retreat, an invisible fire python quickly gave chase and once again ruthlessly collided with him. Having lost the protection of the lightning glow, Fei Qian's avatar ended up colliding head-on with the fallen heart flame. Immediately, he emitted a miserable cry and the avatar swiftly became much paler, bang! 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 Xiao Yan's hands danced. He did not give up this opportunity to beat Fei Qian up when he was down. A couple of fire pythons, formed from the fallen heart flame, shot out and crashed into Fei Qian's avatar, sending him back a couple hundred meters. When the final fire python exploded on Fei Qian's body, Xiao Yang's figure also vanished in a strange fashion. The next time he appeared, Xiao Yan was already in front of the illusionary Fei Qian. He coldly laughed, "It's over." Xiao Yan's voice sounded as his fist, which was wrapped in a dense fallen heart flame, violently struck out. It penetrated Fei Qian's avatar's chest. "Little bastard, you will not be able to escape." Fei Qian's figure swiftly became illusionary under the grilling of the fallen heart flame as he shouted with a savage face. Xiao Yan was expressionless. His hand was tightened and Fei Qian's avatar suddenly exploded, transforming into illusionary light that scattered. Xiao Yan seemed to have understood something as he watched the scattering light spots. He reached out and an invisible energy shot out of the light spot. This energy was accurately pulled towards Xiao Yan's hand. The invisible energy had just landed in Xiao Yan's hand when it transformed into information that entered his palm and invaded his mind. With the entrance of this information, the lightning words in Xiao Yan's mind, that had been difficult to unravel, immediately emitted an intense glow. A moment later, the glow weakened and a complete training method slowly appeared. Xiao Yan's mind was a little dull as he stares at this complete training method that had appeared. His heart suddenly pounded. It was unexpected that he had unintentionally obtained the key to open the 3000 lightning illusionary body from Fei Qian's avatar. "Old fellow, ha, thank you for your gift. I will repay you this favor in the future." Xiao Yan was dull for a moment before he uncontrollably laughed in the sky. His body moved, transforming into a ray of light that swiftly disappeared into the horizon. The space rippled slightly a couple of minutes after Xiao Yan disappeared. A ferocious-looking Fei Qian slowly appeared. His gaze swept all around him, but he had completely lost Xiao Yan's aura. Immediately, his furious roar resounded over the mountain forest. "Brat! I will take your life the next time we meet." A human figure, concealed under dense tree branches within a thick forest, revealed a pair of eyes that stared intently at the sky. His aura was completely hidden under a majestic spiritual strength. Although Xiao Yan had escaped the area Fei Qian could sense him, he clearly knew just how frightening this old fellow's speed was. Hence, he immediately changed directions after having left the scope of Fei Qian's sensing abilities, and had swiftly entered the forest. After which, he borrowed Qian Huazunja's strength and perfectly hid his aura. It had been over 10 minutes since Xiao Yan had concealed himself in this place. During this period of time, he had remained as still as a statue. His entire body was covered by lush green leaves. This, along with the concealment of his aura, would likely make it extremely difficult for Fei Qian to detect him despite his great strength. Such a quiet wait continued for a couple of minutes when the distant sky suddenly rippled. Immediately, a ferocious-looking Fei Qian appeared. His dense gaze slowly swept over the forest below before letting out a furious roar. With a violent wave of his sleeve, a majestic Dochi pillar shot out and flattened the forest within a 100-meter radius. Only after he had vented his anger did his gaze viciously turn to another direction. His body moved and slowly disappeared. Xiao Yan did not move even a little ever since Fei Qian appeared and disappeared. He knew just how frightening an 8-star do zone was. His perception was so sharp that it was terrifying. Any slight movement would alert him. Moreover, with Fei Qian's speed, there would be little opportunity to flee upon being discovered. Xiao Yan still maintained his completely still position after Fei Qian left. This continued for around 2 hours or so before his body slightly moved. Xiao Yan gently leaped down from the tree branch and landed on the ground without emitting the slightest noise. He cautiously swept his gaze around him when he landed. Only then did he transform into a blurry figure that swiftly entered deep into the forest. Xiao Yan shuffled through the forest for a while. He tried his best to dodge the magical beasts he met along the way. Those he was unable to dodge were quickly finished off. Xiao Yan would kill the beast before it could emit a roar. After shuffling through the forest, a mountain peak finally appeared in front of him. Xiao Yan agilely leaped toward the mountain peak. He found a safe place halfway up the mountain. Only then did he sigh in relief, appearing to have released a great burden as he did so. He sat down in a manner that seemed to indicate that he had collapsed from exhaustion. The chase today had really caused his mind to completely tense up. Today was perhaps the most dangerous experience Xiao Yan had faced since he had arrived in the Central Plains. If he had not decisively tossed aside the scrolls, it was likely that he would have difficulty fleeing from Fei Qian. Unless Xiao Yan used the Extermination Fire Lotus, he would have a difficult time defeating an 8-star Do Zone. However, the Extermination Lotus Flame was a powerful killing move and would exhaust him. Once it was displayed, Xiao Yan would enter his weakest state. Hence, unless it came to a critical point where he had no choice, Xiao Yan would not use it. Moreover, Xiao Yan was restricted to only one Extermination Fire Lotus because of the amount of life-transforming flame that he had left. Additionally, Xiao Yan did not have the time to practice that flame creation skill. He had also not refined a new, life-transforming flame. Hence, he could use such a killing move to preserve his life only once during this short period of time. Looks like I will need to find an opportunity to practice that flame creation skill. That little life-transforming flame is really insufficient. Xiao Yan sighed and sat down. He let out a deep breath and summoned the Earth Demon puppet with a wave of his hand. He ordered it to guard him before he gradually shut his eyes and began to carefully study the 3000 lightning illusionary body training method that had already changed its shape within his head. Due to the information from Fei Qian's spirit, the profound and difficult to understand lightning words within Xiao Yan's mind had been unraveled. Replacing the jumbled mess was a complete training method Xiao Yan could use. Time quickly flew by while Xiao Yan's heart slowly sank into the 3000 lightning illusionary body training method. It appeared as though only an instant had passed. Yet, the night sky in the outside world had already turned completely dark. Within the darkness, Xiao Yan, who had not moved for an entire night, finally shook his hand. He slowly opened his eyes. Some astonishment was visible in them. A couple of afterimages immediately appeared behind Xiao Yan after his body shot out. His footsteps paused and hurriedly turned his head around, only to see the afterimages gradually disappearing. The situation that was mentioned in the training method did not occur. The agglomeration of an avatar is indeed difficult. Xiao Yan frowned slightly. His mouth softly muttered the requirements recorded in the training method, using one's heart to form the shape and leave one's spirit within the figure. Xiao Yan repeated this over a dozen times. Suddenly, he understood something. His eyes were slowly shut and his foot gently stepped forward. When his feet landed, his body appeared dozens of meters away in a lightning-like manner. 4 afterimages were left behind along the way. 3 of the 4 afterimages swiftly scattered. However, the rate the last afterimage was disappearing was much slower. However, it remained for only around 20 seconds or so before it slowly turned into nothingness. Xiao Yan could vaguely sense a thread of extremely slight spiritual ripple from the interior of this afterimage. I must leave a thread of spiritual strength within the afterimage the moment that it appears. Only then will it be possible to form an afterimage. However, one must be extremely fast at that moment. Otherwise, how could it be possible to leave behind a spirit within the afterimage in time? Xiao Yan frowned and muttered. Xiao Yan thought bitterly for a while and could only softly sigh after his futile attempt. The training of this 3000 lightning illusionary body was indeed difficult. However, he would not give up so simply. He had confidence in himself. Regardless of how difficult it was to practice this 3000 lightning movement, he would successfully learn it. When he meet that old fellow Fei Qian the next time around, he wondered if that old fellow would end up vomiting blood in anger after he created an avatar. There is still around a month or so until the energy tide in the Heaven Eye mountain range. I will walk through this mountain range during this period of time. I should be able to reach there beforehand. Xiao Yan rested for a moment before once again recovering his focus. He looked at the end of the mountain range and muttered to himself. Quite a number of magical beasts were hidden within this mountain range. There was no lack of strong magical beasts among them. This place surpassed the Jiomar Empire's magical beast mountain range in every way. Xiao Yan planned to engage in a bitter training regimen during this period of time. He would use this opportunity to practice the 3000 lightning illusionary body and attempt to quickly agglomerate an avatar as soon as possible. Moreover, the life and death battle with magical beasts would have a big impact on the increase of his strength. Xiao Yan smiled after making up his mind within his heart. This caused him to recall the memory of how he had left Wutan City and headed to the magical beast mountain range to train back then. At that time, he was a little fellow who had just become a doja. Yet, the doja who had just stepped into the training world back then had currently reached the level of a 9-star Do Huang. There was indeed a kind of dreamlike feeling when he thought about it. Xiao Yan's figure leaped to the mountain top. He looked down at the vast mountain range and heard numerous magical beast roars being emitted from within. He involuntarily howled toward the sky. With a swoop, he rushed down like a giant bird and charged into the mountain range densely populated by magical beasts. Ha ha. The clear laugh that remained in the sky represented the beginning of Xiao Yan's bitter training in the forest. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.